I do that? I can't remember how to do it, but there's a way just to print out that one line. And why I want to do that is because then when you hover over like this client portals, like what does that mean? I'll write the report just like this. I'll print it out so it's only that one line, and then I'll hover over and I'll say number of portals your listing has reached by auto or direct email, and I'll write that down. You see the next page? I'll write this out, and then I'll explain to them. I'll say this one 248. Is it 240? No, it's 273. And then I'll write here, this is the times
This auto email.
that the auto email or a direct email that an agent has sent or the consumer has received your listing. What is a portal? The clients don't know what a portal is. The seller doesn't know what a portal is. I say that is when the agent or the consumer sets up a search and they can go and they get a link to their portal, which is where they view all the listings. The language is, you have to explain the language. So I say this is the number of portals, like emails, clients that the listing has reached by auto or direct email. Direct email is the agent sent it to them directly and it went to their portal and they clicked on the link and they pulled up your listing. Or auto email, when they get that automatic link every few days when a new listing hits. So I explained that. I said that, okay, you've had 273 times, or 273 clients are looking for the auto email. Now the views. This says the total number of full display views by the consumer in their portal. And you can see it's recalculated nightly. Okay, so that means that, why is that number bigger than that number? Because they looked at it more than once. So this is the number of full displays by the consumer in their portal. So it was sent out to this many people, but this is how many times it was opened. So that means they're going back and looking at it again. That's kind of interesting, huh? Mm-hmm. Then client favorites, client possibilities. Sometimes they'll click on it in their portal with a heart or whatever. They'll like it. I don't really dwell on that. Then I'll say auto emails again. This is how many, again, how many searches presently match your listing. So this is how many people have searches set up out there that match the criteria of your house. And then days and how many times, and then agent rejected. That's kind of interesting. It's like, well, the agent saw it, but the agent didn't like it for their buyer, so they took it out of the search. So again, this shows, wow, how many eyeballs are we getting on your listing from the MLS? And I call this my MLS backend data. And not many agents know how to do this. So you say, this is like my X-ray vision behind the MLS wall to see the searches that are set up on your listing, the people, I mean, the number of times your listing's getting viewed. You can go into reverse prospecting. I don't go into reverse prospecting unless I use reverse prospecting. That's a whole different thing that shows every agent that's shown it or seen it. And you can send them a separate email. I did that one time when a house wasn't selling and I had a pool company go and do a pool rendering. And then I uploaded the pool rendering to the MLS, but I didn't change the price. So nobody saw that there was a new pool on there. Pool rendering is a possibility. So what I did was I went in the reverse prospecting. I had like 213 people that had looked at the listing, and I sent each of them an email with an attachment of the pool rendering. And it was interesting. I got some good response from agents that did email me back, but I did them individually. Dear Susan, dear Timothy, dear, so that they would. It took me, half a day, but I had to do something for my listing. Yes, Minnie.
On the reverse, I just did that for a price reduction because I know that it was overpriced. And I got about 9 agents emailed me back giving me their opinion on it. And
It was worth it.
It was definitely worth it.
Well, we've got to work for our sellers, right? So if that means getting that listing sent back out and giving new information and putting it in front of the agents, that's part of our work, right? To expose the listing to the sellers. So that's the hit counter. And if I'm in the back, I'll try to figure out how to just get that one listing showing, because I've
If you
done
weren't in
it.
front of the group here, you would.
I've done it
You've done it 1,000 times.
I've done it before.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one I'm gonna go to is back to, it's still in the MLS. So you go back to home and then to the front page. Yep. And then you go down here to showing time. Okay, so this is the showing time, all right? So you click on showing time. And then it takes you to this home page, and you go down here to reports. So click on reports, it's your next page. And then I like to use, the next page says listing activity reports. So I click on that, and then this gives me the inventory of all of my listings. These are all of my listings that are in there, okay? So now I'll click on the one that I wanna talk to the seller. Let's see here it is. So you just click on that, and it brings up this report. And over here, you can see the print report, okay? You can print this report out. But this shows you, for this listing, total number of appointments in the last 30 days, appointments last 2 days, number of agents previewed, and then all the showings that you've had. And if they have given you feedback on the Showing Time feedback app, I hope you've set everything up for Showing Time to ask for feedback. All their comments show up here. Okay, so these are all the comments. Great neighborhood, buyer felt it needed too much work, still looking, client not interested, choppy house, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, not a good fit. And it's got the agent's name, and you're like, oh my God, I don't want to give my seller all those names and contacts. Give it to them, because it shows what a wide exposure, all these different agencies, all these other different companies that you're partnering with, that you're brokering with to get their house sold. And then look down here. And then it shows all of the showings and what your history is. It starts from the bottom up. Okay, so this is when it started, active. And then you can see all the showings, price changes, more showings, price changes. And this is from Showing Time. Okay? Think that's helpful? Yeah, Peter.
It's helpful because that's not us saying the house doesn't look good.
That's right.
It's the other words that are stronger than ours.
That's right. And it puts a name and a company to those comments. Like I try and get feedback from agents, but it's hard. They're on to the next one. And I tell the owners in the beginning, look, 95% of the time, the agent is not going to take a moment to give feedback. So I try to 3-4 hours after the showing, send a little text message. Hey, what did they think of that house at blah, blah, blah. Then maybe they'll say, oh yeah, too small. At least maybe they'll send me a text message. And then I copy that and forward that to the seller. The seller wants communication. The seller wants to know that you're thinking about their house, that their house is the only one, because it's the only one for them.
That's right.
So you need to kind of show them that love and keep them communicating. Even if I get a text back at 9:00 at night from the other agent saying, oh no, too small, I copy that and I send it to the seller at 9:15 at night. You're like, oh my God, Adrian is thinking about my house. Now, if you're in a movie or something, forget it. Don't worry about it. Just do it the next day. But, for me, I think the communication is key for the sellers, because this is a big thing in their life. We do it all the time, but for them, it's really big. So anyway, you can see the report. I print this out and I keep it and I give it in the package. So now we've got the macro report for the county. You've got the List Hub report from the website traffic. You've got the back end MLS report from the views and the traffic, okay? Now you're drilling down further, and now you're getting the showing report from that exact house. You see how I'm drilling down more discrete components. Now I'm going to show you one more location, which is a little bit redundant, and that is the Supra report. Okay, so remember, you've got your showing time, but you've also got the shackle hanging on the door. Okay, so that's the last handout in the package. It's the go to supraekey.com. I'm in love with my shackles. I use them. I try to use them as much as I can. I like the security of them. I explain that to my seller to try and, encourage them to put the shackles on, because
Shackle.
the shackle, the super shackle,
The box.
the box.
Oh, the key box.
The key box. Yeah, there's the shackle, then there's your, e-key, right? So, there's, the super shackle. So, I tell them that, they have to make an appointment online. I know who's going to be there. Then I show them, I take a shackle box with me, and I show them when I open it up how it sends me an email automatically. So-and-so's, this person, this ID, this cell phone number, this license number is at your house right now. I know that.
Wow.
They're on schedule, so it gives them confidence that we're controlling the situation.
We spent about $4 million just upgrading our Supra system at the association, Broward Palm Beach.
Yeah.
$4 million.
Yeah. So I like to look at the
I like to
shackle.
tell sellers that we've just upgraded our Supra system and invested $4 million as a tool to help sell your home.
Yep. So the supraekey.com, and then you log in. You can see where you click the agent login. Okay, and then next thing you do is it pulls up. Okay, the next page shows you the login. Then it pulls up all your recent showings in any willy-nilly order, whoever showed last. So what you want to do is you want to go to reports. Okay, you click the reports at the top. And then you're going to go to click a showing report. You're going to click this. And you're going to come up with this menu of how to do it. So what you do is I always click the specific MLS. Now, why do I do the MLS? Because with the MLS,
With the MLS number.
you get the start date and everything. Otherwise, you've got to put in the start date. It's more complicated. So I just like to use the MLS number because then it pulls it from the beginning. The listing start date. Okay. Well, yeah, it says you have to put it in here. I think this one started in,
Adrian, when you put the box on the door, do you have to identify the listing in terms of the MLS number to that box?
yes.
So you do that.
Oh, yes. I put my box, I register my listing. Maybe that's something else we should do one time. I register my shackle box to the MLS number, and I have a little notebook back there where I keep all my shackle inventory. And then on the showing time and on the shackle, you can upload a photo of that house on that box, which is helpful. Okay, so I put this in, start date. Okay, 6 months, so.
So then it tracks the showings against that
Yeah.
MLS number.
Right, and then then you want to show the agent contact, include the feedback, and now I'm going to create the report. So click here, and then it starts this report. Now, we did have we did have a upgrade of all the shackles. So if you turned in all your shackles and you didn't run this report, when you turned in all your shackles, you don't have all your history. So I went and I ran all the reports of the shackle history for all my listings that I had active at the time that we turned in our shackles. Otherwise, it's gone because that shackle box is, dead. But let's say forget it. Let's say this is a new listing and you're looking at it. So now you start to see this huge report. Okay? And again, it gives you who the agent was, what day they went in, what time they went in. And what I'll do is I like to print it out. You see I have here printed out. You can also email it. But I like to print it out because then I will write on here, like here, I checked on the house here. I'll put their house check, unless it was a showing. Here, Rosie did an open. I'll put here open house on that, Saturday or Sunday or whatever that was. So I'll mark here, when we had open houses and such.
Do you add that in, Adrian?
What I do is I print this out. Some people email this report, but I like to print it out. So it says here, print report.
Uh-huh.
I'll send this to the printer, then I'll take a red pen and I'll mark here, house check. Mark here, open house, mark
And then you
here.
mail that to the seller
Yeah, then I put it all together. I put all these reports together.
once a month?
Oh, it depends. 45 days, once a month, depends on what my relationship is and how nervous the seller is, etc. So if I can, I sit down with them and review it because I like to talk to them in person.
Wow.
But you can see here all these, and you can pick at the bottom. I don't know if you saw I picked at the bottom. It'll give you like 10 per page. I just go to the max.
Mhm.
If you put to the max, then it'll print all of them out in one, page after page after page, and then I just mark it up. And that's very helpful. So that tells you a little bit more than showing time, because showing time is just the agents that made an appointment to show it, whereas the shackle is everybody that went in there. And sometimes people just call you and say, hey, can I get in there? I see there's a super on the front. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. And they didn't go through showing time. Sometimes I'll say, could you please go through showing time so I can capture that? And they'll say, oh yeah, okay, fine, I will. And they never do. So shackle report, the Supra E-Key report gives you everybody who entered the house, including yourself, including, the open houses that we have, etc. So those are the reports that I do, and I put together a nice little package. If they're local, I like to sit down and visit with them. If they're out of state, I'll put all this together. I'll print it out in color, and then I'll put my notes on there, and then I'll scan it to them. And then I'll set an appointment to review it together. So, and then you take action accordingly. If you need to do a price reduction, or sometimes there's good feedback. Somebody will say something about the pool or whatever, then maybe you have a conversation about doing some maintenance. It just depends what the data is telling you. But I think they appreciate that we're on it. We're pushing it out there to the public and to the internet, and we're watching. We're watching their listing. We're engaged in their listing, and that's what they want. So.
And then, of course, on our $1 million plus listings, we have the Lux Trends, Lux Analytics
Right.
report.
Right.
For $1 million plus listings.
Yeah, I started to do
Except
that.
you don't,
But it
you sell
happened.
them too fast.
They sell them too fast. I hardly had time to do AdWorks. There's one other report that I didn't put on here is the AdWorks, which we had that training just recently where you put in the AdWorks and then you email the seller.
Yes.
Every day they get that report for a week.
A week.
Yeah. So the only way to see that is I've had these one sellers are in an assisted living and they don't have email. So every day I printed out a screenshot of the AdWorks to show how many clicks they had and where it was on Yahoo, CNN, Fox, whatever. And I put that together in a package and met with them at the old folks home and reviewed it. But the AdWorks doesn't really have, it has a cumulative report, but you really kind of have to print it out each day to see the total exposure of all the outlets that it's going to, which is good. But if they're getting that every day in their email, that's helpful. More questions? Good job. We're good?
Very good.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim.